Okay. So we all good. Let me share my screen.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Very good evening. Very good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, sir.
You fine? Just give me 1 minute. Okay. So let me share my screen now. Where I can share my screen. Is it visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Let me log
सर
in.
कल वाला सेशन का रिकॉर्डिंग किधर से मिलेगा?
अभी मिल जाएगा. Will arrange for you. No need to worry. Let me see why cannot log in. Yeah, now log in. So let me close it. Let me go here. FortiGate Firewall. So yesterday we have done discussion about how to take the CLI access of the firewall, right? And we understand the step-by-step configuration, how the CLI FortiGate Firewall can be done, and how we can take the CLI access from the PC, right? And what is the default management interface address of the any FortiGate firewall. And we also understand a little bit how we can do the initial configuration of the FortiGate firewall by referring the lab guides. So let's move the next, right? After this all, how the rest thing is going to be configured in the FortiGate firewall. So we have to understand some concepts as well, which is the most important. So let me first log in another lab and we'll try to understand the step-by-step firewall configuration. Let me on this firewall first. Right. Let me on this switch as well. This switch as well. Okay, let me on this as well. The first thing, I'll just on this firewall. So we understand if I have to configure the initial configuration of the firewall, so we have to define some set of the configuration. What we have to define some set of the configuration? The first thing, I need to edit the port number port number 1, because we don't have any kind of the management port. So if I want to do the configuration, then port 0, which is equivalent to port 1, not port 0, that need to be configured. And based on that port configuration, I can use as a management interface to access the configuration. So let me start the recording. Thank you so much. Yes, sorry, I was forgot to restart the recording. Thanks, someone reminded me. So we have to do this configuration, and based on that, my firewall is going to be accessed remotely. So it's very easy. We just have to go the configuration interface. It will assign the IP address manually in case DHCP is not available. But in today's case, what is going to be happen? My firewall, this interface has been configured and connected on the one of the DHCP domain, DHCP zone, right? So in this scenario, this interface is going to get automatic IP address from the DHCP server without any problem, right? So in previous session, we understand how we can get the IP address from DHCP to static by doing the manual configuration. And we have done this FortiGate firewall configuration manually, right? But in this session, we'd see that how my interface will get the automatic IP address from my DHCP server, which have the DHCP capability. So let me open this firewall first. So I just done the CLI. Now you guys tell me what is the default username of this firewall. Who is going to tell me? Naushad?
Admin.
Admin, sir.
Admin. Okay, very nice. What is the password?
Nothing, sir. Nil.
Nothing, sir.
Nothing. Okay, very nice. So I just have to press enter. Now I have to set my on password. So let me show that. Good. So now I am the FortiGate firewall. So I have to check how many interface available in my this FortiGate firewalls. For that, what I have to do that? For that, I have to just simply go and show system interface, and I have to put the question mark, and it will show that these all interface are here, and you can see if carefully, especially on this interface DHCP, we have the IP address by default assigned. I didn't assign any IP address, but you can see this IP address has been assigned and it's up and working. So how this has been assigned? So this IP has been assigned because this port is enabled with the DHCP services, and the DHCP server is connected on this port, and that's why it is getting an IP address by default from DHCP server. So set mode is the DHCP. Yesterday class, what we have done that in yesterday's session, we set the mode from the DHCP to static to just assign the IP address. Make sense? But here is something different. So now we have the IP address. So let me try to ping. Is this IP address is reachable from my PC? So I can simply ping it 192.168.1.10 and see I'm able to ping. So because I am the LAN PC and able to ping that, so simply I can go and log in this firewall from my this PC. So
Sir,
see firewall access.
हेलो
Yes, Nausad, please go ahead.
सर वो कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट ओपन कीजिए ना, जो अभी आपने स्टैटिक और डीएचसीपी जो दिखा रहे थे।
हाँ
यस, तो यहाँ पे सेट मोड यस्टरडे मैनुअली यहाँ पे स्टडी, मतलब आपने ये स्टैटिक
Yes,
टाइप
I
किया था
have done static configuration in an initial because this port I want to configure
मैनुअली।
management IP address, but the port mode was the DHCP, and
तो यहाँ पे पहला सेट मोड डीएचसीपी आपने सेट किया है, देन आफ्टर इट विल गेट आईपी
it will
फ्रॉम
by
डीएचसीपी
default
सर्वर।
come in DSP. This port always configure a DSP port. It will always come. If you have any new firewall and that is a port 1, it will always be available in the DHCP. So it will try to get IP address from the DHCP server, but in case DHCP server is not available, it will never get an IP address. And you want to assign IP address manually, so you have to change the port set mode from DHCP to static. So that we have done yesterday class. Now, Saad, you getting me? What I'm
यस यस यस।
What others?
बट आपने यस्टरडे स्टैटिक लिखा था, बट यहाँ पे डीएचसीपी लिख करके दिख रहा है, मतलब आपने डीएचसीपी भी टाइप किया था क्या अभी?
No. DHCP, I'm selling. If you have any new firewall, right? It
यस
will always come as a DHCP configuration. It will always come. Okay. So I have not done any configuration. Understand?
ओके ओके ओके।
But I have to assign the IP address. So can I assign the manual IP address if the interface mode is DHCP? The answer is no. So I have to change the mode from DHCP to static. Then I can only assign the IP address.
मतलब अभी आप आगे बता सकते हैं, मतलब कि कैसा डीएचसीपी से आईपी एड्रेस मिलेगा वो, मतलब आप आगे सेशन में बताओगे?
I explained yesterday, na? You have to run this command only. You just done
यस
this.
यस 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 यस।
We done, na? Why we
हाँ
have done? Because the mode we changed from the DSP to static. That's why this lab we completed yesterday only.
यस, दिस वन ऑलरेडी यस्टरडे कंप्लीटेड, बट वहाँ पे डीएचसीपी दिख रहा था, इसके लिए मुझे लगा, बाकी
Let
थैंक यू,
me
सब ओके
let
सर।
me let me show you. Let me show you. Let me go here. This lab we have done right yesterday.
यस
So if I on this, when I configure this port, this is the brand new firewall. So let me do that. Okay. Let me do that configuration from the scratch. Okay, again. Now there is no configuration. Okay. Let me do that. So this is the first new firewall. From you have to take the access from this PC. This firewall connected with any DHCP cloud? No, sir,
नो
tell me.
नो
No,
सर।
right? But you have to get access from this PC. So you have to assign the IP address on this PC, this port, right? But let's say let me show you. If I want to assign the IP address, it will throw an error. I showed you, but let me show you again. So you can see this is the admin. There is no password. Again, I put the admin. Again, I put the admin, right? And if I run the command, so system interface, what is there? Tell me.
Okay, yes. DHCP,
But
yes,
we
sir.
don't have IP address right now. Okay.
Yes.
So if I want to do the IP address, what I have to do that? I have to go config, config system interface, edit port 1, right? And you want to
Okay.
set IP 192.168. Let's suppose what I want to set 10.10 and net mask 255, 255.0. See, you cannot change IP address. Why? You can see, right?
Yes.
Because the port has been DHCP. So you cannot change the IP address. So first, what I have to change that? Set mode. What I have to make? Static.
Yeah.
And then if I just go and change the IP address, then it is done.
Yes.
Now, show system interface. If I just run the command, now it's let me change the static. Make sense? Clear?
यस बाय डिफॉल्ट डीएचसीपी पोर्ट भी मतलब फायरवॉल में रहेगा जो पोर्ट डीएचसीपी के देंगे देन इट फ्रॉम डीएचसीपी सर्वर
Right. By default, it is going to be always in DHCP.
ओके
Let me go down again. So I was on this lab. So if I want to take the GUI access, I can take from this directly from my PC. But how you guys can take that? So you want to take the firewall access, you have to log into this PC. Okay. Once you log into this PC, just click on the Git update and you have to cancel it. If you go in the CMD, so let me go in the CMD. I will go in the CMD. CMD. Let me click it here. You have to check the IP address. This will also get an IP address automatically because it is connected with the DHCP server. That is the internal cloud. So this PC will also get an IP address. See, this get an IP address 192.168.1.1. So now this PC and this port and the same subnet, right? We all agree? So if I am in the same subnet from this PC to this particular port, so we are good to take GUI access, right? So if I'm able to take the GUI access, then I can able to access the firewall from this particular PC. So let me go here and I will, for you guys, you just have to go in the browser. And after going in the browser, you can take the firewall access from there. So I can just simply go here. I can put it 192.168.1.10. This was the IP address of the FortiGate firewall. So I'm in and I can log into the firewall without any problem. Just have to put the username and I have to put the password and the job has been done. Now, if I want to set up the firewall again, I can just change it firewall. I can put the any name like FortiGate firewall. I can click OK and then click OK. The firewall dashboard is going to be look like in front of me. So this is how I can take the access. Means you guys can take the access from this PC always to the firewall. But I'm in the LAN network. So I can easily access firewall from my browser. So I can simply go. It is going to give the look and feel is very nice for the learning experience point of view. So you can see I'm in the firewall. Now you can see the firewall GUI access. And by using this GUI access, you can do whatever you want to do that. So now we are on the dashboard of the firewall. Till here, everyone understand how we can take access of the firewall. And if I want to take access from the static, then we have to define this configuration to just change the mode from DHCP to static. This is the first step. But in case my firewall have the DHCP service enabled, in that scenario, it will automatically take an IP address, and you can see how it has been taken. Let me open it again. Just you have to go and run the command. So system interface, and you're going to get the IP address information. Shall I move next? If everyone agree? All good, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the next thing, once you land to the firewall, right, we have to do a lot of configuration. We have to do the dashboard, we have the security, we have the network, we have the different kind of scenario. First thing, we have to understand about the interface type, right? Any firewall, if you're going to configure, most important, I have to go in the network and I have to understand the interface type. So if I'm going in the network, because always you have to do the interface configuration, like it's a management interface, it's a WAN interface, it's a LAN interface, it's an aggregated interface, it's a DHCP mode interface, whatever you want to do that. But you have to understand the interface configuration. And if I discuss about the FortiGate firewall interface, let me open the book as well. I can just simply go and open the book from here as well. You just go and let me see. No, I just go here and online helps, right? So you're going to find the official Palo Alto firewall, and the first thing you can see that is the interface automatically open. When I just click on the, how can you access this book? You don't have to download. You can download it directly from here as well if you want to download. The book must be downloaded. I don't know how it can be downloaded, but it is going to be downloaded. I know some around it is downloaded. If not, I have the available. I will provide in the notes. You just go there in the particular help icon and just go the online help. You are going to get the book. And this book is the Bible of the FortiGate. Each and every information you are going to find in this book, and you are going to understand the step by step how FortiGate interface definition is going to be defined and how the configuration is going to be done. So if I see in the interface especially, so we have a lot of interface. We have the interface settings, we have the VLANs, we have the software switch, hardware switch, we have the ARP and all. So do I need to understand each and everything in the interface? The answer, yes, we have to understand. And we have to also understand what are different role of the interface and how different role of the interface is going to be configured and how it is going to be defined. Every command is also written here for the CLI and also from the GUI point of view. This is the one thing. Let me open one book as well. That is also going to play a very vital role here. So let me go on the desktop. Running doc. FortiGate Firewall. Let me find it. And where is, yeah, this is the administration guide. So you guys can see that this is a Palo Alto FortiGate administration guide. So if I go here in the network, you can see if I click on the interface, see we have the different interfaces. We have the LAN interface, VLAN interface, we have the aggregate interface, we have the redundant interface, we have the loopback interface, we have the software switch, hardware switch, zone. So we have to understand each and everything from the interface point of view as well. So if I'm just clicking on the interface point, means the interface tab, you can see the first thing we have a lot of interface information available here. And out of these interface, 24 interfaces there on this particular FortiGate firewall. And out of this 24 interface, first 7 interfaces green. That means these 7 interfaces up and working and rest are not up and working. Means the rest are not connected in network. So if I just go in the firewall again on the dashboard And if you see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 interfaces connected. So that's a true, right? Whatever we are saying here, that is true. And you can see that all port are 10 GPS ports, and it's a full duplex. Now, if I click on the interface, this is the create new interface. So if I click on this, we can find the interface sections. And in this interface, if you're going to do any configuration, we have the type of the definition, like we have the aggregated interface, we have the VLAN configuration, that for the EMAC, right? We have the software interface, we have the redundancy interface, we have the software switch, we have the SSL VPN, and also we have the VLAN. And if I want to integrate with the Wi-Fi SSID, that is also possible. So let's understand one by one what is the different interface and what is the different definition for that interface. So first, we all know that physical interface. I believe everyone knows that, right? What is a physical interface and why we use the physical interface? So physical interface is the method, right? We just connect the any physical cable from the firewall to another physical device to just make the communication. Either it's a LAN connection, it's a WAN connection, or any kind of other connection. If you want to terminate direct any connectivity for the server, for the client machine, that is also doable. That is also possible. So physical interface can be connected with either Ethernet, optical cable, depending on your FortiGate models, depending on your device and supportability. But you just have to connect the cables. Clear? VLAN, I believe we all know what is the VLAN and why we use the VLAN. So VLAN is something, if I want to do the VLAN configuration, means I have to configure the VLAN, and I just have to define different VLAN configuration for the access port, trunk port, and I have just to pass that configuration on the different switch trunk port as well. So this is how it is going to do the VLAN configuration. So it's a virtual LAN by using the different technique method and all, we can do that. But if I want to use the aggregate interface, so aggregate interface is something that is going to use just in case I want to aggregate the port for the higher bandwidth. In that case, I can use the aggregate. Redundant interface, if my one interface is going to down, then another interface is going to come in a picture, and that is going to give the configuration for redundant interface configuration. So we'll explain it one by one, but first let's understand. We have to understand the aggregated interface, redundant interface, and the loopback interface. So let me just go back in my topology. So first, let's understand how the aggregated interface is going to be configured. So how many you know that Ether channel? Who all know that Ether channel? Like LACP, PAGP, you guys know that?
Yes, sir, little bit.
Little bit, right? Okay. So see guys, we have the two Ether channel method. One is the PAGP, right? Which is known as the port aggregation protocol, right? That is a Cisco proprietary. And one is the LACP, that is a link aggregation protocol, that is an open standard. So if I want to do any kind of the aggregation, first we have to understand why aggregation is going to be required. So aggregation is required. Let's suppose these ports having a capability of 10 Mbps. This also port having a capability of 10 Mbps. But in case I want to take the connectivity, means or might be I don't have any ports who can carry the 20 Mbps traffic or 30 Mbps traffic, but still I want to take the connectivity for 30 Mbps, 20 Mbps, then how it is possible? So in this case, I can club two ports, that is a physically two different port, and by using those two ports, I can get the maximum speed of the traffic. So that's the aggregation, means we can aggregate the port logically from 1 to 2, right? So this aggregation is supported by the FortiGate Firewall as well. So if I want to configure the LACP or PAGP, that both are going to support by Cisco. So PAGP is Cisco proprietary. I can configure on the Cisco switch. But if I another end, I don't have the PAGP supported device, then I cannot configure. So PAGP is not possible. So we left with the LACP. LACP is link aggregation control protocol, that is again going to use between the two different vendor devices for the link aggregation. And what is going to be happen in the LACP, that means we have to use the active and passive port definition. Means one is going to be, means one device is going to be in active state, one is going to be in passive active, might be the both devices going to be active state, means ports basically, not device, or both are going to be stay in the passive state. So what is going to be happen? Let's suppose I want to make the ether channel, and here I can make the active, this port I define the active port, and here also I define the active port, or not a passive port. So in that case, they will negotiate for the trunking. But here I define again active port instead of passive. This is also going to negotiate a trunking. But if I make both as a passive, then they will never going to negotiate the trunking. Active will negotiate the trunking. Active passive will negotiate the trunking, but passive is not going to negotiate the trunking. This is normal switching concept, guys. Just I'm giving the examples how it is going to happen. So let me do how the trunking is going to configure on the FortiGate firewall point of view. So let me do the switch quickly. Switch is very easy. I can go in the switch, and I can simply go here. I'm assuming you all know what is the LSCP and PHP. If you don't know, just recap that knowledge, because like the very CCNA level of knowledge. But how it is going to integrate to the FortiGate firewall, that's the most important. We have to understand the aggregation, how it is going to happen. So let me change the host name first. Switch to, and now I have to integrate 2 ports in the ether channel. So how can I do that? I simply go and let's suppose I want to configure interface range. I can give which 2 ports I want to configure, that 0 by 0 and 0 by 1. Give 0 by 0 and 0 by 1. I can make as a channel group mode active, right? So because we are using the LSCP, right? So we have to define the mode as a active. See, if I want to use active, that is going to enable LSCP. If I just select the auto, it is going to enable the PHP. Desirable also going to enable the PHP. On is just the normal static ether channel, right? If I use the passive, that is again the LSCP. So if I want to enable the LSCP protocol, I have to use the channel group. I can put any group name number as well. You can see if I just put the question mark, we have to put any number as a group. So let's use the 1, 2, right? And the mode I will use the active. So active, this is done. So you can see 1 port channel has been created. Now what I have to do that, I will just go again on the interface. Let me go on the interface range, and I have the gigabit 0 by 0 to 1, and I can put the like if I have another switch, then I can do the configuration. This side I have done that. But if I want to allow any, let's suppose I have any VLANs, I want to allow any VLAN things, then I can do that. But if I just run the command, show ether channel summary, so you can see that the port has been configured. These 2 ports are part of this ether channel. It's simple definition. I have done that. No VLAN I am passing by default, no trunk port I am creating, but simply I just done these 2 links mapping together. Just think about the access port. So it's showing that your port is the LSAP, but it's showing a D. D means the down. The port is down. Or S, you can see this port is a S, this port is S. What that means? Small, suspended state. Why it's suspended state? Because another side of the FortiGate firewall, we don't have done any kind of the aggregation interface configuration. So how can I do the aggregation interface configuration of FortiGate firewall? By combining these 2 ports. So now these 2 ports have been combined on the switch end side. Now we have to do the combination of these 2 ports on the FortiGate firewall side as well. So I will go on this particular configuration, and I'll click OK. OK. And simply I'll go in the network. And here is the interface port. I'll click on the interface, and I have this interface tab, and I can just put the any name, like I can just put the what name I can put? I can just put the I just want to make this the aggregation. I want to do that. Like aggregation, I want to do that. So aggregated port. It is not going to take aggregated port, right? So I have to select that is aggregation. So A23.A22.3AD. This is the aggregation. So by doing that, I have to select this, very easy. Now it is going to ask which two port you want to make the aggregation. Which two port is going to require now, sir?
2 and 3, sir, which is connected towards switch 2.
Right. I hope other people also, Rupesh, Sandeep, Ranjit, Basant, Praveen, you guys are getting me, or it is going very fast? It's a normal LSAP concept. So we just have to select these two ports, 2 and 3. So I'll select this and this. Now, what else? If I want to define any IP address on these two logical ports, let's suppose I want to make any IP-based connectivity, I can do that. But for time being, I'm not going to assign any IP address. I'm just passing the normal things on these two ports without any IP. Additionally, I want to assign any kind of the management services on this port. So there is no IP address, then there is no management services also going to require. So I will leave it as a blank. DHCP not required. Most important, the interface means the policy interface you are creating. The status should be enabled, not disable. So enable should be green. So I just click OK. Once I click OK, we can see one aggregate port has been created. And let's see on the switch end side, you can see something happen on the switch end side. And this is something, the negotiation has been done from the switch to the firewall. And you can see it's showing that line protocol on the interface port 12 change state up, which was down. So let me check what is my ether channel status. So if I run the command, show ether channel, summary again. And in this ether channel, you can see very interesting output. Now in this ether channel, you can see now port channel 12 become SU. U means your port has been in use. You can just focus on U. So U means your port has been in used. And this port was the P, means S, a small S earlier, but now it's a P, means it's a bundle in the port channel. You can see it's a bundle in the port channel. So that means my ether channel has been created based on the negotiation. By default, negotiation has been done. It automatically active has been created in the FortiGate side. They initiate the negotiation and my port has been provisioned. It was earlier suspended state, my down state. But the moment I completed my provisioning, means both inside, they negotiated the LSAP, and this is how my ether channel aggregation has been done. It's very easy to do that. Clear, guys? What is aggregation and how it can be done? Any doubt here?
Yes, yes, sir, yes, clear till now.
Everyone clear?
सर एक क्वेश्चन था अपना.
Yes, please.
या मतलब पोर्ट नेगोशिएशन जो हुआ इन बिटवीन, मतलब क्या क्या पैरामीटर मैच किया जिसकी वजह से वो
That's the most
नेगोशिएशन हुआ.
important. If you talk about the negotiation, right? It always going
और वो
to
फायरवॉल में कैसे चेक करेंगे कि इस इंटरफेस का क्या क्या पैरामीटर, लाइक फुल डुप्लेक्स, हार्ड.
no, this is not going to check the full duplex and hard duplex. It's most important going to check the protocol only. So by default on the FortiGate firewall, we didn't do any kind of the active or passive interface configuration, means the protocol configuration. So if you check that, let me just show you. If you just go here and just go in the Google. Supported protocol. Most protocol is very important. So you can see this is the protocol and this is the link aggregation control protocol to use the manage to link the configuration, balance the traffic. By default, right? It's a load and this all are talking about that. So it is by default going to use an active state because there is nothing has been written. But if you go and learn the Cisco book, right? Let me show you. LACP protocol, right? So if you go here in the LACP, if you open any CCNA, you can understand. Let's open the CCNA article. So you're going to find this active and passive mode. It is going to support it by default in the Cisco switches. And by default, other devices, it is going to always in the active state. Whenever you're going to enable this LACP feature, means LACP protocol number, that is this one. A2.3AD, the aggregation. It is going to by default use active initiation. It is aggressively going to talk you for the negotiation, and after doing the negotiation, they will make the ether channel summary between means ether channel connectivity between those two devices. So there is no protocol. Only one condition is going to be there. You have to be connect the cable, and that port should be up and working. Even if you want to make the duplex, means the any ether channel, there are some kind of the criteria, and that ether channel like that we call the prerequisite, right? So prerequisite is
Yeah,
to
that is
that.
my question because
Yes.
in the switching, when we create ether channel, then requirement like
So
very parameter half
if you want to do
duplex
the
and
switching, so we have to define the same duplex. That is the one
yeah,
thing.
native VLAN
So
should be
you have to
same.
define the
Like
same speed as well, right? That is another thing. And also you have the like whatever the VLAN including native that all VLAN should be the same.
port type like G, yeah,
VLAN
Ethernet
should
one.
be same allowed, right? Another thing you have to be like not you cannot use the gig port and like another 10 gig port. Port type should be same, right?
Yes,
Should be same. And most important, right? If you talk in the pure switching, it support up to 8 ports to do the aggregation, right?
correct. Yes,
So this is how the prerequisite is going to happen. So I was thinking in different way, like I was not thinking you were talking about the prerequisite. So there are some prerequisite, right? And that prerequisite should be met, then only you can create the port channel. So now if we understand this one, shall I move to the next interface type? If you all agree. Shall I explain the redundant now? What is a redundant interface and how it is going to help you? Okay, let me stop this recording. I will take the small video so you can understand at least topic wise. So now we have to understand about the redundant ports, how the redundant interface is going to be defined and what does mean. So before I'm going to read this document, you just think about let me do in this way. Default. Let me make the configuration as a general default. So config T default interface gig 0 by 0, and I'll make the one no interface port channel 1 2, right? So let me check show IP interface brief. Okay, so show run interface gig 0 by 0. There's no configuration. 0 by 1, there is no configuration. So all good. So what is a redundant mode? So redundant mode configuration is something.
क्लास चल रहा था वो
Redundant mode is something. Let's suppose if I have a two ports, right? in this particular traffic. Let's suppose these two PCs are talking to each other via this port. Let's suppose all communication happening via this port. But this port went down for some any region. So my traffic should be moved another port, and this will keep happening this communication without any failure. So if I have this kind of a situation, that is known as the redundant mode configuration. Okay. So I have to define some redundant port configuration on the FortiGate firewall. By doing that configuration, I can port interface as a redundant mode. So let me do that. In the switch level, I'll simply leave that both port on the same VLAN. Let's suppose I want to define the port in the some other VLAN, 10 VLAN, 20 VLAN, or I can leave in the default VLAN, 1 VLAN. By default, they are going to stay in the same VLAN. So if I want to define this port as a redundant mode again, so how can I define that? So first I have to delete that aggregate port, which I have done right now, but we are not getting the delete options. So how can I delete that? Because I want to create a new interface and I want to use this time as a redundant port. So I have to define the port, but these ports are not showing here because I want to configure the port 2 and 3 as a redundant port. But already these ports has been part of the aggregate port. So we done the aggregate port lab. So I cannot use the same port. So I have to delete those information as well. Deleting is also not an easy task. So see, I'm going here and want to delete, it is not able to delete. So you have to always take care this reference number. If we have this reference number, right guys, very important. And if it is available, you cannot delete any interface, any VLAN, any configuration, even the policy and NAT, if you want to delete that, it is not possible at all. So what I can do that, I simply go and click on this particular interface. And first I have to delete this reference number from here. Not this point, very important, else we are going to stuck. So just delete it. So once I delete the reference number, I'll close from here. Now my reference number has been 0. Now if I go and select again, see my delete option has been enabled. Make sense? Everyone understand? So now I can just go and
कोई
delete.
सा भी कॉन्फ़िगरेशन डिलीट करने से पहले रेफरेंस नंबर को डिलीट करना रहेगा, देन मैं फिर से कॉन्फ़िगरेशन डिलीट कर सकते हैं, एनी कॉन्फ़िगरेशन.
Right.
But when the reference number will get generated?
Whenever you're just going to map any kind of the port with any interface or any policy you are going to configure for any VLAN, any IP, any object, then automatic reference number is going to be generated.
So we can see this from the command prompt console?
Yes, command prompt also you can see that. We can see the command prompt also. If you want to see the interface information, the command prompt also going to give the informations about the reference numbers. But you don't have to go in the command prompt. You always go and do via the GUI because it's not required to go in the CLI because it's a GUI is very user friendly for the any firewalls, any next generation things. But everything you can do in the command line of whatever you can do the GUI, same thing you can do the CLI as well. But you have to do a lot of struggle. You have to find the documentation. You have to find the command and everything. But it's a doable. Everything, each and everything you can do from the CLI and each and everything you can do with the GUI. Few things like debug and all you can just do as a CLI only. But yes, GUI is more user friendly. You can do that. So now if I want to do the interface redundant configuration, let's suppose I want to make the redundant interface configuration here. So how can I do that? I simply go here in the interface. By the way, you can read the definition as well if you want to read that. So the definition of the ebook is saying that a redundant interface combine multiple physical interface. You can see, most important, you can combine multiple physical interface where traffic only uses one of the interface at a one time. Even I have the multiple interface, my traffic will not going to load balance. Likewise, the aggregated interface, ether channel and all, PAGP, LSCP, it will always going to use single interface. And if that interface is going to be down for some reason, read it here. Its primary purpose to provide a redundancy means if any interface is going to be down, the backup will take over, and backup is going to die, and again another backup will take over. So it's keep going the process, means keep process is going to happen, and finally your traffic is going to be processed via the different interfaces without any kind of fault tolerance, kind of the outage related issues. So we can simply go on the FortiGate firewall, and I want to make the redundant. I'll go here and I'll just select the type of the redundant interface, and I'll create the redundant interface, right? Simply I'll go here, and which two ports I want to match. And if you want to give the port role, means it's a LAN port, WAN port, just for a definition, you can do that. And I don't want to use any IP address again. I don't want to use any VLAN and all. So simply redundant port. So I can use the redundant port here. That's all. So now you can see the port has been configured. Means you can see redundant interface has been configured, and by default reference number has been generated. So by default, if any traffic is going through this firewall from this side, the one packet is going to be always processed by the one interface, but one is going to be down, another is going to take a takeover. Is it clear to all how redundant interface is going to be created?
So aggregation and load balancing will work together.
Aggregation and load balancing.
Yeah, load
Means
balancing.
aggregation is the protocol. By using the
Yeah.
aggregation, we can do the traffic load balancing within the multiple link. Okay.
Correct. This is what we did, right?
Yes. So in previous
it's a
session,
channel.
when we talk about the aggregation, the load balancing and aggregation is going to happen. Then load balancing is going to be processed by default with all the link. But if I go for redundant configuration,
Okay.
redundant configuration is something one interface is going to be active at a one time. If another is going to be down, the one is going to take, means free is going to take over of that particular interface configuration.
Can this redundant link a part of the aggregated link?
No, cannot be.
Okay. Okay. All right. So what happens if one of the aggregated links fails? Automatically, second will be turned on.
So both having a different purpose. If aggregate link is going to be failed, aggregate link means I have the, let's say 4 link in one aggregation link. So all 4 cannot be fail at one time. Even one fail, 3 link will cater the traffic. Make sense? If I have the bundle of the 8 link or 4 link, so one is going to be down, another 3 is going to take over the traffic. If 2 is going to down, another 2 is going to take over the traffic. If all goes down, then there is no point, right? So my traffic will definitely going to be dead.
Okay, so that has the aggregated links already have built-in redundancy. We don't have to think about that. This we have to creating redundant for something else.
Yes, right, Sandeep.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay, so here let's suppose I want to define something. Let's suppose let me use this aggregate link, and let's suppose I want to, in this link, I want to define another ports as well. That is also possible. I can define the ports as well. But I don't think it is going to be required 3 or 4 ports, because 2 ports we can test each and everything, whatever I want to do that. And this is going to work for me for just providing the redundant information. So you can just again do that. DHCP, if you want to get the IP address and all, that is also possible. Manual IP definition, you want to do that, that is also possible. You want to allow any management if you have the IP address. But in redundant scenario, when we do the configuration, generally we use the switching environment. When I want to get the traffic from the LAN, and one link I want to use active, another link I want to as a passive, then it is possible. But if I want to define the IP address, then also in this case, the IP is going to be defined and that communication is going to build. But more or less scenario, if I want to configure the VLAN and all, so let me just configure the VLAN, and then we'll come out this again redundant port, and we'll see how it is going to happen. So let's suppose redundant we understand. Now we have the VLAN interface, and this is known as the virtual LAN. So what is the VLAN? We all know VLAN can be created on the switch. It could be the extended VLAN, it can be the standard VLAN. Extended VLAN is something, if you have the VLAN number more than 4096, then it is extended VLAN. Extended VLAN is 1 to 4096. What is the VLAN range we have? So I want to process the VLAN from the FortiGate firewall. If my FortiGate firewall want to do any tag, that is also possible. So how we can create the VLAN on the FortiGate firewall? So let me go on the FortiGate firewall. I can create some VLANs so you guys can understand how the VLAN creation is going to be happen. So let me go here, interface, and here you have to see interface. So I can go here and I can just create the VLAN 10 and type. This time I'm going to use the VLAN, not redundant interface, not loopback interface, not any kind of the aggregate interface. I just want to use the VLAN. So I can just create the VLAN, and here it is asking in this particular VLAN which interface you want to call, right? And what is my VLAN ID? So I can use the VLAN ID 10. So interface, I can use the redundant interface to just carry those VLAN. Make sense, guys? So I can use the VLAN and I can pass the VLAN on the redundant link, and on the VLAN I can define the IP address like 10.10.10.1/24. So I can enable the HTTPS, ping, SSH, and you can see this has been enabled. So now you see that what is happening. If I just expand that, now you can see the configuration. I created one VLAN, but where I'm passing this VLAN information, which ports? Can you just tell me which port I'm passing this VLAN information? Anyone?
Using redundant port.
But what actual port? Redundant port is the one thing. What is the actual port on which I'm passing the both VLAN? Means one VLAN, 10.
Which port is a part? Which port is part of VLAN 10?
You guys are watching now?
2 and 3. Okay.
Yes, 2 and 3, right?
Okay, yes, yes.
Yeah.
सर बट ये आईपी एड्रेस ये पार्टिकुलर पोर्ट पे दिए ये रिडंडेंट किसके लिए दिए ये?
Oh, okay.
So when we are configuring redundant interfaces under the separate VLAN, suppose we have 3 VLANs, so we have to configure the redundant interface for each of them in staying in that VLAN, correct?
Why you are going to use a 3 VLAN? Redundant port is for the one network, one subnet, right? Or might be I can go and create a trunk. All VLAN can be passed.
Okay. Okay. No,
it can be one network, right? LAN is one network, right? No?
Yes. No, it can be. It will serve like trunk port, like it will carry all the VLAN information.
If it is going to serve as a trunk port, right? So that means you are going to pass all VLAN. That you have. In that case, you don't have to define IP address for the one single VLAN, right? Simply you have to propagate all trunk. Let's say 10, 20, 30. So primarily all traffic is going to process via this link. Primary, this link will be active state. But if this link is going to down, the all traffic is going to switch from this to this link, right? Means from this to this link. Let me use the pen. So my traffic is going to shift from this to this link, and here 10, 20, 30 is going to be processed. Simple. Now what is happening? Logically, these ports are not a single port. They are 2 different ports. It is clear to everyone? Logically, these ports are not a single port. This is a 2 physical port, but with the help of the redundant, right? We are saying you are going to stay as active and you are going to stay as a backup. Clear?
Okay.
So if I have the 10 VLAN here, 20 VLAN here, 30 VLAN here, that all information is primarily going to pass from this interface. But if this interface is going to down, this will take care of the traffic. But let's say suppose I just have the one VLAN, 10, only 10. So I can create the SVI, switch virtual interface. I can give the IP address here. I can give, right? No?
Yeah.
And then this interface can be process all traffic for the VLAN 10 only. And if this is going to down, this is going to carry the VLAN 10 information because we just map one SBI instead of the trunk port VLANs information. Clear or still not clear?
Yeah. SVI means what is the long form?
Switch virtual interface.
Okay.
SBI is the switch virtual interface for the switching concept, layer 2, layer 3 switching concept.
Yeah.
Nasad, you clear?
यस सर यस।
Pakka?
बट वो हमारा क्वेश्चन था सर, वो आपने आईपी एड्रेस जो असाइन किया था वो पार्टिकुलर विलेन के लिए असाइन किया था राइट, या इंटरफेस के लिए 10 डॉट वाला?
That is for the VLAN. That is for the VLAN.
ओके ओके, दैट आईपी एड्रेस फॉर विलेन।
That is for the VLAN, you can see. But this VLAN is passing on this interface.
ओके ओके।
Simple suno yaar, Nashad. See, this is the one switch, right? This is the another switch. Clear? Now you have two interface connected here. Two interface connected here. Okay. Let's suppose in a state of the redundant, you just aggregate the interface. You know the aggregation, right?
यस।
Now I have one PC connected here, another PC connected here. And here is one cable, here is another cable. This PC have the IP address 10.10.10.10/24. This have IP address. Now you have to create one SBI here. That is a 10. Just suppose 10.10.10.1. Okay, /24. Just giving the example. You have to create another SBI here. Or just take this is another network. Might be, or just take this as a reference. No need to worry. Just create this one. Now let's suppose you have to, this is another SBI. You have to create one VLAN here, 10, and you have to assign the IP address. But you have to pass the VLAN information on these two ports. So you can do some switch port access configuration to pass the VLAN information. Nashad, you can do
Yeah.
Nashad?
Yes sir, yes.
You can do, right? So switch, even you are doing the switch configuration,
Yes, sir.
you are going to tell how my VLAN information is going to pass on the switch ports, right? Just these are two different network. Then even you have to do the routing, you have to pass the VLAN 10 here, VLAN 20 here, and then you can make the reachability. So in FortiGate, we are not doing the VLAN propagation. We are creating one SBI and we are saying that you just going to be part of this interface. Means that VLAN 10 is going to part of this redundant interface and that going to carry VLAN 10 information at a time one port. And if that port is going to down, another port is going to take a takeover role. Right?
Okay.
Nasad, you clear or is still not clear? Let me know.
Yeah, clear. Or maybe we can do little practical, then we can do more.
Yes, definitely. It is going to be clear to everyone.
Yeah.
What about Rupesh, Praveen?
Yeah, sir, actually, I have one question. Like, we can use in load balancing also here, right? Like,
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
we have the another scenario where the load balancing is going to come in picture. What Praveen, I think Pradeep was asking, we have the load balancing scenario. That is my aggregate interface. So if you have the ether channel, this ether channel also support the load balancing. Let me show you ether channel load balancing. So these support the load balancing. They have the multiple way to do the load balancing based on the MAC, based on some kind of the, addressing.
So my question is, was sir, like, we can use this redundant20 in load balancing, or like one VLAN 10 and
No,
VLAN
it's
20 we can divide?
redundant interface is not going for the load balancing.
Okay.
Redundant interface is going to just provide the backup. One link
Okay.
is going to be active at a one time. If it is going to down, then another link is going to take a role. Simple definition for the redundant link.
For the load balancing, we will use aggregator only.
Aggregator only.
Okay.
So now we just configure this port, right? And this port have this IP address. And now let me just go and we configure one of the VLAN here also. Let me just go on the switch as well. Let me try to show you something more fun thing. And I'll just create the VLAN 10 here on the switch level. And after creating the VLAN 10, I will go on these two ports, gig 0x0 and gig 0x1. So let me go here, interface, range, gig 0x0, and I'll put the switch port mode access, switch port access, VLAN 10. So if I just go there, I'll just make the write. And in this PC, I'll assign this VLAN 10 IP address, and also let me configure this port also as a VLAN 10 0x2 as well. So I will go in the configuration, gig 0x2, interface gig 0x2, switch port mode access, switch port access, VLAN 10. Okay. And let me show VLAN brief. So now you can see I have 3 ports under the VLAN 10, 0x0, 0x1, 0x2, right? So these 2 ports are connected with the FortiGate, and FortiGate side we configure the redundant port, and this port we have this PC, right? So in this PC I need to assign the one of the IP address. Let me assign the IP address 10.10.20. So they all are going to stay in the same network till here to here. So let me just write it here. So here these 2 are in the redundant port. Here I create the SBI, and on this SBI we have this IP address, and by default we are going to make this port also VLAN 10, this also 10, and this PC is going to part of this VLAN 10. So what I can do that I can go on this PC, VPC, and I will assign the IP address. Let me go there. So how can you do that? Just go in the IP 10.10.10.10, sorry, 20/24. No gateway, because they are going to stay the same broadcast domain. So no gateway. So it's checking the IP address, a virtual PC, just for the testing. So you can run the command show IP, and you're going to get this IP address. So now if I try to ping the IP address which assign on the FortiGate firewall on the VLAN 10, you can see that, and I enable the ping as well. So let me try to see if I'm able to ping or not. So if I just try to ping 10.10.10.1, so the PC is not reachable. This port. Let me create one IP on this switch as well, just for testing. I want to see what is happening with the switch. Do we require gateway or not? Let me just create one of the IP, SBI. So interface VLAN 10, IP address I'll assign 10.10.10.100, 255.255.255.0, right? No shut. Show IP interface brief. So this is the IP address. Let me ping from this VPC, whether it's a pinging or not. So 100. So now we have the reachability from this PC to this switch, right? From this PC to this switch, right? We have the 2 different port, right? But one side we have the aggregation, one side we have the some kind of the not aggregated, means we have the redundant port, one side we have the no configuration for the aggregation and all. So this could be the one region we have to do the aggregation, then it is going to work. But let me check one more time. So it is not reachable. Okay. Let me try another way. Just verify that. I have the redundant link, right? In this redundant link, we have this VLAN information. So what I can do that, I can just remove this redundant information configuration, just put test that. Let me remove that, delete this. And after deleting, I'll just go and delete that. But before I have to remove this VLAN information. And I will delete that redundant port as well. But I have again revision number here. Let me remove it here. First, let me verify the connectivity, then we'll do the lab testing. So I don't think firewall. One thing I want to check in this scenario, policy is not going to be required, but let me just check one more time. I just want to remove this all. I will make in the single kind of the connectivity. I'll create one VLAN. Let me put it here. And this is the VLAN 10. And interface I'm going to use this time just one interface, port 2. Okay. So I will use the port 2. VLAN ID I'm definitely going to use the 10. And here I'm just going to use the IP 10.10.10.1/24. I will enable the ping. I will enable the HTTPS. And let me see. This interface is enabled definitely. DHCP is not required. And let me do the configuration. So it's a pretty straightforward. I just use the one interface just to make sure I have the connectivity. I not require any additional thing. Then I will check the again redundant configuration as well. So I will go here. Let me try to ping again the one IP address. And it is not reachable. Let me create one policy. It is not required in the payload, but let me just check it. I don't want to touch the policy. I don't want to. So please deny everything. You can see by default, everything is deny. So I will just create a test policy. And in this test policy, my incoming interface is this one. And even outgoing interface is this one, right? So the traffic is coming and going on the same interface. Source IP, you can just check any. Destination IP, you can take any. Services, you can take any. And not required. I'll explain what are all these. Let me first do the testing and all. Enable policy this. So we created one policy for just testing purpose. And let me try it again. So they are in the same network, same broadcast domain. Why it's not pinging? Let me see. We have this physical interface. Let me suspend this link or let me delete this link. I'll make more simplified. Port 2, and this is my port 0. Should work. Hey man, what's happened? Show run VLAN. Show run interface VLAN 10. And show run interface. This gig 0/0. So gig 0/0. And they have the configuration. And this is the VLAN 10. So let me try to ping from the switch itself. And let me see point-to-point reachability. So when switch is not able to ping, let me check the ARP. Show IP ARP. And we are getting the incomplete ARP. That means port is down. What is the issue? Port 2 is up, right? This is my port 2. ARP should be there. Right. Let me see here. Okay, let me do one more thing. Let me even remove the VLAN and I'll try to configure direct IP address on the port.
So ping should be enabled, right?
Ping is allowed, na? Ping, we are trying to ping a VLAN. VLAN have the already ping allowed, you can see.
Yes.
Yeah, it's already allowed. Let me do reverse engineering. Definitely it is going to fix. It's not like it is not going to fix, but I want to check where is the problem. Why it is not
We
pinging.
can check in session browser or
Session
log.
is next step. The ARP should be complete first, na? Layer 2 connectivity should be
Okay.
there. This is the first thing,
Yes.
right? Makes sense.
Yes, yes.
So I'm failed with the ARP. So let me go plain interface layer configuration first. Okay, leave it. This policy is useful. We can leave it. There's no issue. So let me just go here and configure that 10.10.10.1/24. Let me do that all. And nothing is going to be required. Enable. Let me review the policy. I believe I'm not making any mistake in the policies. All there is no problem at all. Port 2 to port 2, even this is not required. But let me check again. Show IPR, let me ping again. So now it's pinging, you can see that. So when we define on the interface level, it start pinging. Let me again create the VLANs. We'll see that where is the issue. So at least cable is not problem. Might be you're doing some configuration in the interface level configuration. So let me create one VLAN again. And this time I go here. Just give me 5-10 minutes more. I'll conclude this. And this interface is going to use this. And LAN is this one. I will use this 1/24. Okay, let me first remove the /2 port informations. So not required anything. Zero, zero, zero. Right, so it is done. Now let me create again one interface. This time I'll go here and create the VLAN 10, and this is also my 2-number port. VLAN ID is 10. This time I'll give the IP address /24. Right, ping SSH. I want to allow, and other things. The interface is enabled. So now we are good with the VLAN IP address. Now if I check the policy even, so let me open the policy. Here I can give the VLAN 10 to VLAN 10. And let me test it again. Strange. Let me create duplicate policy. Let me clone it. Test 2. Even this policy is not going to make any relevance, but let me try it. So it's enable, policy is enable, right? What I'm doing mistake? Probably there will be silly mistakes, right? And what is that? The port we configure, that is fine. There is no IP, that is also fine. The VLAN I created, that is assigned with this VLAN ID is same, right? And on the switch also, we are using the VLAN ID 10. So VLAN brief. So this is fine. VLAN is good. Interesting. We have role LAN, right? This is also good. And if I go and check the port is fine. Physical port. Role is also, there is no problem. I not required any kind of the IP should be workable. IPR. Here we're getting ARP as well. See, now we are getting the ARP. ARP is there. We have the ARP, but not only pinging. No worry, guys. Okay, so we have the ARP at least. We have some positive sign here. So we are already getting late. So definitely it is going to work. No need to worry. We'll find a solution. And if required, I'll change the VM and all. There is no problem at all. But definitely it is going to work because ARP is there. So at least we have some positive sign. Configuration wise, I have to configure the VLAN. I have to call the VLAN on the interface. That is a fine policy. It's like the same gen policies, even if you allow the both thing port level and the VLAN level, that is also there. So there is no problem at all, right? But we'll do tomorrow from here, right? I'll do the troubleshoot and I'll create the inter-VLAN routing also, right? And yes, network engineer academy, it's enable, right? So the firewall interface ping is enable. Let me show you. So you can see this is the VLAN and we enable the ping. ICMP already enabled, but still not pinging. So probably on the port level, port is pinging, VLAN level not pinging. So could be something. It is definitely going to fix. There is no problem at all, right? So all good, guys. Shall we close from here today because we are already late? Continue from tomorrow? Or you guys want to troubleshoot right now? Tell me.
Yes, you can continue tomorrow. Or
Yeah,
if you
we
want to
can-
continue, you can continue everybody.
Yes, definitely. We are continuing from here. It's a good. We have some troubleshooting scenario. Even first VLAN levels, we'll try to understand what is the problem here, and we'll also try to fix this kind of problem in the production because sometimes funny problems arise. But concept wise, we are good. We are getting the ARP and all, so we'll try to fix it. Probably once I start the VM, it is also going to fix. I don't know, right? So let's close it here. We'll connect tomorrow. We'll discuss all about it. Okay. Thank you.